Hey, thank you for joining me. This is the fourth episode of Just a Dude and His Hobbies. I do have to announce I absolutely cheated. I kind of upgraded everything in the last day or two. After the first video, it's kind of like, ooh, hey, let's try something. Well, ideas keep flowing. That's usually how I work, and here's what I came up with. I went out to my local um, yeah, Walmart. That's what the store is called. I kind of tend to try to ignore it, but not really. Anyway, so I found this really lovely, I can call it a Kabuto if you are from the 80s and remember what that was, in the craft section. Really, it's fantastic. It takes the place of everything I was doing with that old flambeau yellow monstrosity that I had and makes it so much better. Here we are. Look at that. I will try to pan back a little bit. Excuse the other things that are going to show while I'm doing this, but take a look. Here we are. We have got everything that I need. I ended up having to cut down this little bottle, the lid. I cut down a little bit just so it fit in here and everything would close nice and neat. I switched over to these really nice bottles that I've had sitting around for a while. This is actually airbrush um, bottles for mixing paint and everything, so you can store it for a long time. But anyway, so I've got my solve set for my decals. I got my sticky glue still there, the super glue gel. I got just a general bottle of water. Yeah, look at that blue sticker with a W on it. I put that on there so I remember because a lot of similarities between the solve set and that. This is actually spackling, brown wood putty that I bought. Um, put that in here too. That is, I use a lot of that for my basing. As I said, my thin glue, regular glue, PVA glue. That nothing's really changed here. I took two things out of this. If you look at it closely, I took two of the ballasts out of it. I took the sand and the brown ballast because I did not like it a whole lot. I really don't use it too that often. That way I could put the little tufts in there themselves. Took this out of the nice little case it came in, my purple snippers. The other things I recently got were a nice little pin vise. Because, yes, without my Dremel tool up here, it's hard to drill holes in the bottom. It's hard to drill out barrels, things like that. I got this off of Amazon for like $7. It came with a bunch of bits. That's only a couple of them. I switched it over and put them in this really nice case. I really like that a lot. This I got, it's an old set of screws. I figured little odds and ends I'd start sticking in there, so I put my Q-tips, yay. Um, little extra razors, blades for my X-Acto, Q-tips there. Let's try paper clips there, blue tack. This is a shoulder pad with a black Templar in case I decide I want to put it on somebody sometime. And then my Helix cutting pad. Oh, these really, really nice tweezers. Man, never thought tweezers would be really handy, but I tell you what, there's a lot that I found that I'm using them for anymore. Um, so they all fit nice and tight in there like that. Up here, the other purchase that I got was this toothbrush holder. Guess what's in there? With all paint brushes. Figure that is such a snazzy way. The only problem with the toothbrush holder is these holes down at the bottom. You can see they're white right now. That is actually just tissue I shoved down in there. Really, the problem with toothbrush holders is, of course, they want airflow. I don't. Those little holes are really good for letting paint brushes flow through. The other thing that I got, let's take a look. I got sanding sticks, real ones. I switched out my emery boards. I just took some of the base ones that really, if I get super, super fine, this kit actually went up to 4,000 grit, which is basically taking a piece of paper and trying to sand with it. So I took out a lot of it, took the biggest grits. Yeah, 180. That's enough to gouge the crap out of a sprue or plastic. So I figure that's going to be heavy duty. Um, if you look down through, I've got 800, 1,000, 400, and 600. Those are really only the only grits that I'll ever use. So that was one of the upgrades that I did. It all fits nice and neat, tucks away. Ooh, I've got a travel kit right now without that little thing being another little thing, putting the box in another box and locking it away. So, paints. I don't like the idea of keeping my paints sideways. So we will see how this goes. As long as the lids are on nice and tight and I let them sit up for a little while, I shouldn't have a bubble pop. That is a concern of mine. If you know what a bubble pop is, I've had situations where I've opened the lid and all of a sudden I have paint all over the place. So my intent is we'll set them up on the side and let them rest before I use them. So I really have room for what, 3 in each of these little slots. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and then 2 in these ones. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So I've got enough for 24 paints. Right now, if you notice, there's no greens in there. I did not put any greens in because right now I'm working on these Black Templars, the Terminators. If you look on there, believe it or not, there is like 16 different paints on there. It's hard to imagine that something that's just black, red, and silver, and really reality requires 16 different colors. But that is what I have. That is what it looks like. This, the cool thing is it. I finished him today. I just based him. Those little tufts I took out of the thing I have in my kit. Decals. I wasn't real crazy about that white on the red and black stripe part on this Power Fist. It was a little much. So right now that, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it looks okay, I guess. Not my favorite, but I do like how he turned out, just really dark. Someday I'll show you the Sergeant. The Sergeant has a white shoulder pad, white helmet, and I work more in gray and whites versus this. If you see tan and whites that I was using there, everything really looked like that, including the eagle on his chest. But anyway, so that is what this kit is set up for, is for these guys. I've got 3 more back here that are just sitting here. I've also got Typhus sitting here waiting. I've got to decide. I think my next project for him is I think I was talking a little bit about a brush coat primer that my brother's friend Dean, my friend Dean, he passed away several years ago from cancer, unfortunately. But he showed us a really nice brush on primer, which is a glass medium tile, glass ceramic tile medium. Um, Add a little black tint to it, and it comes out really super. And it's good for when you cannot spray paint. I can't go outside and spray paint right now. It is like 9 degrees. So anyway, that I think will be next in the videos. Show you a little bit about the basing, so I wanted to build that up a little bit. I do have that jar of wood putty that I have in my kit. Um, Not a whole lot there. So the other thing I did was I cut down the palette. This is all I need. Really, even my washes, they will fit in there. I don't use a whole lot of washes. I do use those inks that you'll see, Deep Shader and the dark tone, that's black and brown essentially. That's really about all I use for those. Um, so I figured a little dollop in there that'll work for what I'm working on. And then this, it should peel off every now and then when I decide I want to clean it. So cut that in half, sanded it down, made it a little smooth, and that's all I'm going to use for a palette. It'll work. What else? I think that is it. The only other thing I brought up was my Loctite liquid thin super glue. The unfortunate thing with this is I am not going to set it on its side. It will not do so well. I will get it all over the place and glue myself to the seat if I did, or my desk, and that's not a pretty sight. So really, that is not a travel thing. Maybe I'll get another little tiny bottle of that stuff that's in the tin. But that's about it. I figured water, if I travel, water, most hotels have cups and water. That's all I need. There's nothing special. And that is my upgrade. Well, if you look in here, I do have my $4.99 pink soap for cleaning my bristles on my brushes. I could probably put that in a smaller jar too. The other thing I have is this multi-purpose sealer. That's actually pretty similar to the glass and tile medium that I'll be using. So a little bit of this mixed with black. That'll be my brush on primer eventually. So that is it. Thank you again for watching and listening. I really appreciate that. I will talk to y'all later.